the worst thing about joining the military is you have to fucking get the whack.
Bro, I got my friend out of it.
Was he in the military?
Yeah.
Oh, so he didn't join because he
No, he's still in the military. Like he was over in Qatar for 9 months. I got him out of it
how?
because I got an exemption form basically for like religious purposes and like all types of stuff.
Yeah.
And I had him fill it out and it was like confirmed and it worked. And
So it
so,
didn't work. It didn't work for me because I was in basic training at the time.
mm,
So I was
so you had to get it.
I had to get it.
Oh, we'll get you God mode ASAP.
So I was like me and the other boys in my platoon. We were like straight up, march to the medical facility, and there was no, you know, disclaimer. There was no information. We didn't
Yeah.
have internet,
Yeah.
and we were under direct commands. So it's like
Yeah, bro.
you can't like you could say, what if you don't get it? Are they gonna like hold you down? No, they're not gonna hold you down. But it's like when you're in a training environment, you do what you're told. Like
Hmm.
you do what you're told. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I didn't expect our conversation to go to that topic, but
It's
here we are.
organic. It's organic, just like everything we make.
Yes, I like that, man. So yeah, man, I just wanted to talk to you because, well, first I just wanted to talk to you, right? Just to
Yeah.
catch up. And also, obviously, I'm recording this, and either I will use snippets of what we discuss as a part of a video, or just upload it full form.
Cool.
Is that fine?
Yeah, bro. I'm all for it. I love
All
doing
right,
it.
excellent. Yeah, so I guess I should have some kind of introduction because those who know me may not know you and all that. So, who are you?
My name is Mason Kuhr, aka Papa Gaines.
Also known as B Daddy.
That's right. I'm the B King. Let's go. But yeah, I'm the founder of the Stampede Network, which is a holistic performance supplement brand. We're on a mission to make holistic wellness mainstream, make conscious living the usual, and we're already on the way there, doing a pretty damn good job at it. Um, and so me, I've always been into this stuff, personal development, spiritual empowerment, expanding our consciousness, because that's all reality really is, right? And so I've always been seeking the truth, always looking for answers. And back in college, I went through an ego death of my own. Being an athlete my whole life, I had always associated with things on the outside, right? And so a lot of us go through that. A lot of athletes go through it. And you get to a point where it's like, I have no idea who I am anymore because there's nothing to identify with.
Hmm.
And ironically, that's where you find your true identity in the inner spirit, the creator inside of us, the capital S self, right? And so when we detach and we learn how to let go of the world, be in the world, but not of it, as the Bible says, that's how we truly find ourselves and discover our true nature. And from there, you realize that you can create whatever you want in life. And it's always going to come into your life, no matter what you're thinking, good or bad, it's going to manifest because our thoughts create our reality. It's like a fishing hook that your heart reels it back in. And so if you have both in sync, then you will create either the life that you've always dreamed of or the nightmare that you've had.
Very well spoken, man.
Thanks, bro.
And my experience was the mirror of yours. What I mean by that is, so you were in the physical domain as an athlete first, and then when that ended, or what happened, you had the ego death. For me, my identity was built on the mental and the intellectual because my parents are professors. I assumed I was going to do that, and I
Yeah.
went through college, went to my master's program, and everything. So my ego was invested in research and reading science and all this stuff. And at the end of it, I was like, I don't actually want to be in a lab like 10 hours a day
Mm-hmm.
underground. My lab was literally underground. Like, I don't want to do that. So when I stepped out of that ego death, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I have these degrees, but I don't want to actually use them. Like, what do I do? I actually want to use the physical. I don't want to use the intellectual. So complete mirror is so interesting, that parallel.
100%. Yeah, I mean, life is just a mirror, bro. And it's like, it's always pointing us within, no matter our mind is literally like just so diluted and we live in this illusion. That's why I saw in the plant medicine is like the mind is always seeking knowledge, right? Because it wants to be like God, right? And so if you can picture this, basically my experience is like we came down, I was in this infinite, I was the infinite, right? And so if God truly was conscious, how conscious would he really be if he was not conscious of himself? Right? And so if you think on that one and meditate on that, that's the whole purpose of why we're here. Because we are here to witness the totality from a lens of separation.
You know that phrase that we are created in God's image?
Yeah.
I wonder if it's less to do with the physical. It's not like God has 4 limbs and a head. It's more to do with the fact that we as individual human beings are also creators. We create stuff. We have an image of something in our mind, which doesn't exist except in some form of biochemicals. But then we can manifest that into reality. That is what defines God. The definition of God is that which creates. We're all a mini God in some sense when we create something. When all we do is consume, it's almost a betrayal of the charge placed on us. It's like we are placed to create. So we are placed to imitate. There's this too. This does something.
Like we get some hearts too.
Oh shit! I didn't know that one. What else do you know?
I guess we know it all. We're many gods.
I just did this once in what. So I mean, I have my private community, right? So
Yeah.
I did this for some reason because I wanted to say 2, and all the freaking balloons go up, and it's like an actually serious topic. So I see this go up, I was like.
That's reality though, bro. Like that's the whole point of life. And in that is like that sums it all up. Right? Like when I was in this realm, I don't know if you saw my Twitter post on the realm of self.
I think I probably did, but please go ahead.
I'll show you on camera. So I basically was in this after I left myself, after Mason disintegrated and died, then I went to this place. I call it the realm of self. And so basically it's all of these eyes, right? And I was like this little point of awareness. And all of these eyes were different universes. And I could peek into one and it would be like looking through an eye as a me, right? So each of these eyes was a me and each of those was a universe, right?
Yeah,
so
that's at the edge of my understanding, to be honest, right?
Yeah, because we can't understand it with the mind. It's impossible, right? Because inside each of these eyes, each of these is an ego, right? And so an ego is literally just a story that's created. And so our ego is our story of who we are. It's our perception. It's our self-concept as the me. But the I is not the me, right? The me is everything that comes after I am.
It's interesting that the word EYEI and I have combined in your drawing.
Yeah. And that's what it is. We're a meditation in the mind of God. Right. And so it's like our whole experience, what I saw was like, as I said, we're put into this lens of separation to go through the journey of understanding our own nature, because we can't understand the infinite from a place of infinite. It's impossible. You need a resting point to understand what infinite truly is, and realizing that you can't understand it at all. And that's how you step into the infinite.
That reminds me of that quote by Aristotle. I think it was Aristotle, who says, give me a place to stand and give me a lever and I can move the earth. So according to what you just said, the I is the place you stand. Now all you need is a lever. You can move anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bro. Exactly what it is. I mean, the ego is like a hammer in a tool shed, right? And so it's like our mind identifies as the hammer. It identifies as the mason or the Kaal or, whoever we are, right? And so it thinks that's us. It thinks that's the truth. And so it's always trying to prove its own existence with things around it. It's relating to things. When we open a door handle aggressively, we think, oh, I'm an aggressive person. Or like calmly, I'm calm. Or, when someone says our name, you're like, oh, that's who we are. But it's like the hammer is trying to define its own existence, when in reality, it's not the builder, it's a tool, right? It's just a tool for the builder to use to create. And so, like, each of us are different tools in this tool shed with our own purposes. And our mind is constantly getting caught in this experience of thinking that it's the creator, when in reality, the creator behind it is the true force of creation, not the tool itself.
You know, I was actually reading Psycho-Cybernetics. Have you heard of it? Or you probably read it.
I've heard it. I'd never read it, though, surprisingly.
So yeah, I mean, I was the same way. I didn't read it for the longest time, even though a lot of people suggested it to me.
Yeah.
And it takes what you just said, but it takes it to the next level. What it says is it's teleology. What you're speaking of is teleology, which is the idea that everything has a purpose. It's a tool built for something. So if it's true that there's teleology and you're built for something, but you're also a creator in your own right, then surely you can actually create yourself to be the kind of person to achieve the goal that you need. It's almost like a tool which can work on itself to be a better tool. It's like a self-learning AI, except far more advanced. No, it doesn't exist yet. As far as I know, a self-learning AI doesn't exist yet. But ideally, it would be an AI which can improve itself by writing its own code. You know what I mean? So AI is really nothing compared to the human brain. It's not.
No.
And likely it's never going to be.
No.
So that level of complexity that we have, potentials are unlimited. I suppose that's the reason why you have created this business that you have, creating the interesting supplements that you are going to be creating. But did it all start with the bee bread? Was that the first ever product?
Yeah, it started from the bee bread. And that was really just like this, it just fell into my lap. Like it
How
really,
did that happen? Tell me the story of that. Because I don't think we ever discussed that.
bro, it was like, so I had about like 60,000 followers on TikTok, and I had been growing my TikTok since like March of 21.
You said 60,000. So I don't actually even use TikTok that much, but is that like a lot?
Not really. I mean, I have 650,000 now. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty decent, but yeah, I had like about 60,000 at the time of like October, I believe it was
2020, 22?
21.
21, okay.
Yeah, and so I'd been building it since like March, right? And so at the time though, I was living in my parents' basement because I had a coaching business going, and I hated that. Like I was getting some clients, but it wasn't fulfilling me the same way. I didn't feel like I was fully using all of my skills. And so, I was trying to find other ways to make money online for months and months and months. And I had e-com experience from my sophomore year of college. I went through the drop shipping phase. I eventually got banned off of Facebook ads I got banned off Facebook ads for stupid reasons that weren't even my fault.
Yeah.
My friend, he started drop shipping masks during
Mm.
the COVID years. And so I got guilty by association. I was banned. I'm still banned to this day. We're still trying to find workaround.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I wasn't drop shipping for a while, and I'd always been scared of trying again because there was just like so much shit I was going through. I had this like fear built up of like, what if?
Yeah.
And so finally it was like, when I say too, we can create our reality, it's less about creating it, more about surrendering to the reality that already exists. It's about surrendering to to what is possible, right? Because like, as I was saying with the hammer example, the hammer doesn't need to know how to hit. It doesn't need to, it's literally in its nature, and it just has to stop itself and allow the builder to use it. Like, that's it. Like, just let the creator use the hammer to hammer shit. That's all we got to do. Right. And so it's like the more we get out of our own way, the more that we actually accomplish. And it's about getting rid of ourselves, our ego, our me, and letting the creator work through us. Right. And so I got to the point where I was like, well, I don't know what the hell I'm doing with this coaching thing. I'm not making a good business. I've tried selling programs online. I've tried selling clothes. I just wasn't making progress, and I was not a good marketer or salesman yet. And so, I realized it's like, well, damn, my audience, what they want nutrition and they want supplements. And my brand was all about conscious living and the same stuff that I'm talking about now, holistic wellness. And so it's like, okay, well, the supplement industry sucks. It's scamming people left and right. They make horrible products, synthetic ingredients, chemicals are everywhere. It's
Garbage.
just, yeah, and there's no truth, transparency, anything. And so it's like, well, if I do it, I'm going to build a brand that is based off the values of truth, trust, and transparency, right? 3 T's. That's what literally built this brand. I was like, if I do it, I'm going to do it my way. It's going to be the right way. It's going to be clean, holistic, and it's going to be something I'm interested in, which is performance, right? So I was just looking around online for supernatural supplements. I made a TikTok asking my audience. I was like, hey guys, if you'd be interested in this, comment, let me know. And so I got a bunch of feedback. And so I was like, okay, I was like, what do I have to lose? I'm literally in my parents' basement with no money. Right. And so I was just scrolling around online for like holistic substances, and I found this hexagon looking thing, this rusty bolt looking thing. I was like, what is that? And I find it, and it's bee bread, and I start reading about it and doing the research. I'm like, God, this stuff is powerful. Like, this is really interesting.
I've never good too.
Yeah, it tastes good. Like, I've never seen this before. And so I reached out to the supplier, got some sent over to the US, and I was like, oh my, I love this. I love this. I think there's real potential here.
Wait, so which website, like, how did you come across
I literally was just Googling. I was like unique holistic substances. Right. And so this one just popped up. Like
That's crazy.
It just happened to pop up. And so, I mean, there's a lot better ways to do research, like asking, for certain, purposes, right? So like holistic performance, holistic substance for sleep, holistic substance for immunity, blah, blah, blah. And just really like digging into, you can go on Reddit, you can scroll through TikTok, you can find the trends where attention is going. And it's really just about seeing patterns.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I saw this and I knew from my drop shipping experience, like this thing is ugly and it's weird looking. Mm-hmm. And so it has viral potential. Mm-hmm. Right. And so that's what I cared about. I knew it was healthy. So I was like, boom, this checks the boxes. And it tasted good and it worked. I was like, I feel really good. And so I ended up getting it branded up with them, listed on the site for what I thought was going to be a pre-order. And then there was like 2 weeks I was still hesitant to put it out because my ego was stopping me again. Like my ego was like, I don't want to become supplement guy, because ego's always thinking like, oh, well, what if I lose it again? It's always thinking of fear, right? Because we know that it knows it's not real. It knows it's an illusion, right? And so it's scared of itself, right? And so I was like, okay, I'm going to list this thing. It's going to be a pre-order.
And so you listed it on Amazon, was it? Or where did you list it?
I did Shopify. Yeah, the Stampede Network site. And so I had it up there for a couple of weeks and just was not sharing this. And so I'm just slowly watching my bank account get lower and lower and lower.
How much did you invest in your, first batch of this product?
My first ad?
No, like, you probably ordered in bulk the first time, right? So like how much money did you put into it? Because you didn't know you were going to sell.
So it was a cool situation where it ended up turning into like a drop shipping type thing. And they didn't really,
gotcha.
They didn't have many units. So I was the only person doing it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, all right, let's just set it up like this.
Yeah. Got it.
And so all I really had was like the product cost. And I had put like tens of thousands into just trying to sell stuff, and I'd lost all my money throughout that year. And so I had my basement rent payment coming up, no money to pay for it.
Yeah.
I was like, and I'm very grateful looking back. I was pissed at my dad at the time, but I'm like grateful for that because it made me really dig in. And I know what he was doing. But I was like, okay, I just got to just drop the ego and put it out. And so I woke up one morning after praying to God for giving me a sign. And I walk into my bathroom in my hoodie and my underwear. And I pull out this bee bread in front of me and I just start talking about it. And I just do a really good hook. I was like, if you want to be a Spartan, a Greek god, a statue, any of those things, you've got to try this. Right. And so I'm talking directly to my audience, they're all talking about Greek gods on TikTok, aesthetics, you name it. And so I was using all of that stuff in there. And I posted.
Was this like TikTok live or was it like just a TikTok?
It was just TikTok. And so I put it out. I pressed post, because in the video too, I was talking about pre-order. Said it's going to be live next week on the site. Go if you want to pre-order, check it out. And so I post this thing and I throw my phone because I was like, I just accepted my fate of being a supplement guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And so my phone's on my bed and I just go sit on my couch and I'm thinking for like 5-10 minutes. I'm like, wow, I can't believe that happened. And then all of a sudden I hear the Shopify ding. And I'm like, what? And I go over and I look at it. I'm like, dude, someone bought the bee bread. I was like, wait, how? I was like, how? I thought it was like a pre-order thing. And so I go in, I was like, oh my God, I left it open on the site to purchase. And so I was just like intending for them to put their email in and I was going to capture them.
Yeah.
But yeah, someone ended up buying it. I was like, it's a fluke. And so I throw my phone back down. 5 minutes later, I hear another ding. And like, keep in mind, I had not checked any of the videos at this point.
Right.
And so I hear another, like, someone else bought it. I'm like, nah. Like, this is jokes. Like, let's see if third time is really the charm. And so I throw it again. Like 3-4 minutes later, I hear 2 dings. It's like ding ding. I'm like, what?
It's
look
happening.
At the video's already at like 500 views after a few minutes. I'm like, it's interesting. And so I put it back down, bro. Like 5 minutes later, it was money printer. My phone was going, it's just like more orders are coming in faster than I can even read how much the amount was on it. I'm like, insane. What is going on? I'm looking at the video, bro. In like 10 minutes, it hit like 5,000 views. It was the crazy or whatever, like 10, I don't know how long it was. Time didn't even exist anymore. But like it was a really short amount of time. And this thing was just racking up views. I was like, oh, this video is going to go viral. And dude, I'm just seeing so many sales coming. If you scroll way back to December 5th, 2021 on my TikTok, you can see me recording my reactions to this thing happening. I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? Bro, in a single day, I had to stop it. I actually had to shut off sales at about $25,000 worth of sales in like 3 hours. Because I got a call from the supplier. They're like, oh, well, yeah, you have 1,000 orders came in, but we only have 50 in stock. I'm like, oh, shit. And so I could have let it run and easily cracked a 6-figure day.
That's insane. On day one, basically.
Day one. Easy. There was zero shot of it stopping, right? Because I turned off that one product and people started buying the other products. And then they started buying all my clothes and my programs. It's everything was just going. I was like, what?
Like one day just changes your life.
It literally sold out the whole store in one day. I was like, what is going on? And so I had to shut off the sales. I spent the whole month of December fulfilling orders, getting yelled at on customer support, trying to tell them that I'm getting the supply. Yeah. But yeah, literally one video changed my life. And then in January of that year, when we restocked, I started just running Spark ads to that one video, which is basically you put ad spend behind a TikTok video and it becomes an ad. Right. And so I just had the buy now button on and I was not good at running ads. I had basic knowledge from the Facebook stuff, but I was running it very broad audience and it was doing like 3K a day in sales. It was just pumping. Right. It's probably doing like a 5 to 6x return. So it was killing it. It was killing it. And so it's like, I did that for a few months and then I was just slowly watching the velocity go down because I hadn't made another video like that. And so I'm starting to freak out a little bit.
Were you still making videos or were you just not?
I was, but I didn't want to spam my audience with sales.
Yeah. So you're just making your regular content rather than, hey, this is the stuff I want to sell.
Yeah. And so I knew from all of my time studying business and systems and all that stuff, I knew how to build a team and scale it. I just needed the money to do so. Now I had that opportunity in front of me. My ad team, who I've had actually for around 2 years at this point, we're going to be, going different ways now because they've got their own thing going, but they came out of nowhere luckily. And they're like, yeah, we could do the ad buying for you and we can take that over. And so I was like, oh my God, thank you. Thank God this one came out of nowhere too. And now I can scale it up and make content. And so I ended up making its own separate Stampede page. I went really hard on the videos there. We scaled that up. It's at like 80 something thousand followers on there. And we have a bunch of other too, but yeah, I just used that money. I scaled it up, built a team, and here we are, tiny bit over 2 years later.
Here we are.
Yeah.
No, I completely relate with that because when I think it was my third video ever, the Hamza video, which blew up out of nowhere, right? I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
So I didn't have any problems.
Crazy.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
I think it was like 400,000 views in like a week or 2 weeks, something like that.
Yeah.
So I didn't have any way of monetizing it because I didn't have any product. I was expecting kind of like a 6-month journey to get to a point at which I would have products or anything and so I was like, I have time, I can coach people. So I set up my Calendly and everything. I was like, I'll just charge 50 because like I have like all 3 videos out. Like no one's gonna buy it. And I just set it up for like the next day. And every hour that it was available was sold out. I was like, okay, fine. So yeah. So I think I set the window for like a 5-6 hour window, assuming that it wouldn't be completely full. But yeah, it was filled up in like minutes. So each 45-minute like block was out. I was like, okay, fine. So 50 is clearly not the correct, price, supply demand price. I'm like, okay, fine. Like, what about 100? And sold out. What about 150? Sold out. 200 sold out. And so I was making money from YouTube, but basically a full-time salary from YouTube in like video number 3, in 2 weeks of starting on YouTube. So just like you, it's like instant switch flip. It's like, oh shit. So the social media game is legit. Like I can play this game and I can win at this game. And so I was like, okay, what's it going to take for me to quit my job? Because I had a pretty good engineering job. It's like, no, getting tempting.
Yeah.
So, and then here we are, I have the online community. It's doing well. I think it made something like 30K on launch.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's,
and the profit's like what, 90 something percent?
Pretty much because it's a digital product essentially.
Yeah. Wow.
So it sells for $600 now. And basically all I got to do is make courses and then they're there forever. There's no recurring cost because once the course is made, as long as I update it and everything, it's good. So now that I have product, now I need to grow. So basically I was strategic about it. It's like, there's growth and there's product creation. I have only finite number of hours per day. What do? I was like, okay, fine. I'll just take the L on growth temporarily. I'll work and make the best product possible in like 1 to 2 months, courses, community, all that. Well, that's what I've been doing for the months of October, November. And it's only now that I'm posting again. So now that the products are good and they're set up, right? They're set up, they're good to go. And they have no recurring costs like we discussed. So now it's just growth time.
Yeah, bro. Wow.
So that's the strategy going forward, man. 2024 is going to be growth year, like crazy.
Yeah, expansion year. That's what I'm feeling on this side too.
Yes, expansion year for sure. So I have a strategy in mind. I haven't implemented it yet, but I want to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah.
So Sam Sulek?
Yes.
Oh, you actually know him?
I haven't met him, but I think
who he is.
I think he goes to the school I went to in college.
Oh no shit.
Yeah, because I saw him in the gym because someone was talking about like his style and just how it's bare bones authentic. And so I was looking at his lifting video. I was like, is that Miami University? I was like, yo, I think that's the gym I worked out in. I was like, I didn't know that kid was there. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What Sam Sulek, his content isn't technically good. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't actually teach that much advice. He doesn't talk about form, and his nutritional advice is kind of garbage. It just he eats like a child.
Yeah,
which is all fine because his personality sells for itself, and he's super consistent with his uploads. People like him for him, and they will watch 45 minutes of his content because it gives them some kind of happiness, some kind of wholesome feeling towards him. Now, I'm not like super wholesome or anything. I'm not Sam Sulek, right? I'm not slow talking, deep ass voice, everything. Right? That's not my personality.
Yeah, the T
But
voice. You got the Roy
yeah,
voice.
you're right. I mean, he's built like a freaking circus beast at this point.
Yeah, he's a
But
beast.
he's a beast. I mean, respect for his hard work and everything, but it's not exactly healthy. And you and I
Yeah.
both know that.
No, it's not healthy. It's bodybuilding
Yeah, I mean, he has different goals than longevity and health. His
for
goal is
sure.
size. And
For
I can
sure.
kind of respect a guy with single focus on whatever metric he's choosing.
Oh yeah, bro. I
You
was there
know,
too at one point in college. I was in the bodybuilder phase. I thought I was gonna be like freaking Mr. Olympia, and I look back, I'm like, I hated that.
yeah, yeah. So what's interesting is I've been asking my audience, like, why do you watch my content? And and I've also been reading all my comments, like, since ever.
Mhm.
And I see this recurring theme of we they don't care about the editing. They don't care about the editing. They care about the information and the personality. So how can you take Sam Sulek's technique to the extreme? So Sulek's modus operandi is basically extreme authenticity and consistent uploads.
Mhm.
The only way you can go up from that is do a live stream every day. Because
Mhm.
a live stream is as authentic as it can be. There is no opportunity for editing. It is, you see what, it's what you get is what you see, or what you see is what you get. It's straight up as authentic as it's possible to be.
Right.
If you do a live stream every single day, and you have something unique to say every single day, like I have plenty of information I can draw from. I'm well versed in history, economics, biology. I have a compendium of knowledge I can share. So I'm not going to run out of content anytime soon.
Mhm.
If I do that for a year, and every day I'm getting better and better at camera presence, like talking, not without the need to edit,
Mhm.
that's going to be extremely powerful. Because when you look at the landscape, who are the actual straight up cult leader dynamic audiences? They're not the guys who edit a lot. Hamza, Tate, Jordan Peterson. What else names come to mind? Like these guys, they don't rely on visuals. They rely on camera presence and the ability to deliver a story.
Yeah.
And they have far more actual influence than even like Mr. Beast or something.
Right. I mean, if you look at like Trump, even, I mean,
Yeah,
it's,
exactly.
there's no filter there.
Exactly. Yeah,
So,
exactly. So they're using an older form of influence and in some cases control. Absolutely it is.
mm,
The modern meta, right? The modern meta is using all these tension hooks and graphics and explosions and all this BS to increase view duration.
mhm.
But what if you don't care about ABD? What if you don't care about that? What if you care about actual level of influence on the individual who's watching through the camera?
Right.
At that point, the edits and the flashiness actually doesn't help you. It actually detracts.
It's a distraction for sure.
Like no
100%.
one's following the cult of Mr. Beast. You know what I mean? But
No.
Tate or Hamza, people will do a lot for them.
Right. That's so true. There's a guy you should check out. His name is Myron Golden.
Mm-hmm.
He's my favorite YouTuber by far. I've never seen someone with a
Wait,
growth.
I'm not.
I love you, bro, but Myron Golden, that man has the presence of he's a man of God. Like you can tell he's embodying the truth. I've never seen some momentum on YouTube like this guy. I think he's over 500,000 now, and I saw him beginning of this year. He had like um maybe 200K, something like that, or maybe that was like in the summer, I think. So I mean, I've just been watching his videos so much, and he uses like biblical principles and spirituality to teach business and just success in life. And so this guy, like his full video is unscripted, right? There's no cuts, there's nothing edited out. It's just all real, and it's exactly what you're saying. And it's like the message is so clear, and there's nothing in the way that keeps you from really internalizing it. He goes for like 50 minutes straight. And so these are really fire videos. I've learned so much from it. And he lives in Tampa, which
Have you
is
met him?
I haven't yet. I will. Um,
Myron Golden, yeah.
Myron Golden, yeah. but
Okay,
he's like in his 60s or something, maybe. So he's older guy, but it just shows like you really don't need the editing and the quick cuts. It's
no.
all that's what my brand was built on, bro. Like I just do so many hot takes and shit, and I realize like the more I edit, the less views I get.
Yeah, I mean, like the editing seems to be just a sunk cost. Like it doesn't actually do that much. Like if
No.
your storytelling and camera prints are good, then you don't need it. It's not only that you don't need it, people actually don't want it. Maybe a few pictures thrown in for context. Like if you're talking about, I don't know, like a map or something, then it helps to have visuals for sure. But
Yeah.
it's in the end of the day, it's the voice and the tonality and the way you tell the story and set up all that, which is the real payoff.
Yeah, and there's such a lesson in that too, because it's like one thing I've realized is everything is always teaching us about everything else, right?
Mhm.
Like if we look around us, it's always telling us about ourselves. We are always the cause of the environment we see. And so if you look at like, editing and stuff, it also shows how, the superficial things like you can get bodybuilding and you can have like a nice car and all these things on the surface. And it's like what we're really seeking is the underlying thing, right? And so it's like you
Mm.
can attract people to you with really good editing and all that stuff, but it's never going to retain for the long haul. It doesn't really capture the soul, it captures the eyes.
That's such a good point. And something else that you said earlier, which is extremely wise, was you're not trying to change reality as much as you're surrendering to it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a book called The Surrender Experiment. Have you heard that book? No way, you have. Yes, sir.
Let's
So,
go.
so the Surrender Experiment, I mean, obviously you read it. It's for those who don't know, it's about this gentleman. What's his name? Singer, right? Michael Singer.
Michael Singer, yeah, tech
Michael
guy.
Singer. Yeah, exactly. So he does what you just described earlier, which is started giving lectures completely unscripted. He said, I have the information in my head. I'm going to go to this. He was a teacher, he was a professor. And he starts talking about whatever his surrendered mind tells him to say. And if you've gone to university, which you have, nobody goes to a class which they don't have to go to. You know what I mean? There's no such thing as a celebrity professor who you would actually sacrifice to go to their class. When the
Yeah.
Michael Singer started giving his lectures, people would, whether they had classes or not, or whether they were his students or not, his classroom was packed. People were waiting in the wings, listening to him as though he was some kind of celebrity. And you would think he's some kind of spiritual guy, which he is. But as his life went on and he surrendered to the things which are his calling, he created one of the most successful construction companies in his area because he's good with his hands. Like he made his own house, right? So a policeman sees his house and it's like, that's really good. Can you make my porch for me? And he makes the best possible porch for this policeman that he could possibly make, giving it 110% of his effort. And it was the best porch. So the policeman's friends saw it and they're like, how did you, like, who made this? And he makes more porches. He starts expanding to other construction stuff. And before you know it, like he is the construction king of his little area because he put 100% devotion to his work. And when the first computers start coming out, he just bought one because, he just bought one. And he starts playing with code. And he's good at it. Like he realizes he has a talent for it. And before you know it, he's detecting problems with other people's code and being like, hey, just for free. You could do this better if you did this instead. And he starts writing his own software. And to this day, no, actually, I think they updated everything in 2015, but till like 2015, his baseline software was the crux of the medical, like customer relationship softwares for the medical field. Like his software that he wrote like decades ago was kind of like the baseline for customer relationship management softwares in the medical field in the United States for the longest time. The only reason they updated it was like security reasons. New viruses and stuff came up which he didn't anticipate. But because he put everything into it, he made stuff that lasted. And he's a multimillionaire. He started from spirituality though. So I totally see why you would have that book in arm's reach.
Yeah. Yeah, bro. It's like That's the funny thing about spirituality too, is people think it's like this taboo thing, right? Because we have spirituality, and immediately the mind comes in and fucks it up by labeling it. And that's the irony in it, right? So it's like, oh, spirituality, let's ruin it right now by thinking about it. Right? And so it's like we can't be a spiritual person. It's about just being, right? Instead of saying I am spiritual, it's just I am. That's the most spiritual thing. It's just existing and allowing life to give you the blessings that are already pre-written, because we put them there. We are the I am. We are the infinite, and we put them there to experience the journey of what it's like to experience. Because when we have everything, that's the one. That was the craziest thing. The best insight I had, and it was so funny when I was thinking about it, was when I came back from the plant medicine journey on my second night. I keep going back to it, but there's so many insights. When I came back, I had this feeling. I was thinking, I was like, wow, I was just infinite. I was everything that ever existed, has existed now, or will exist. And it was so boring. It was so boring. And so it's like, let's play a game of I'm gonna lose it all and I'm gonna find my way back. And so it's like this whole thing is pre-written infinitely. There's infinite paths, infinite people. There's a version where you and I are sitting in a room, and my room is pink and yours is green. And it's literally the same thing is happening on different fields all the time. And so it's like I do understand destiny is real now. And our destiny is written by our willingness to surrender to it.
I have this phrase which I always go back to, which is character is destiny.
Yeah.
Because my belief is your thoughts and your actions, they shape who you are, your character.
Right.
And there's nothing more predictive of your path in life more than your character. It's not your intelligence. It's not your good looks. It's a combination of everything compressed into one thing, which is character, which is a summation of your thoughts and actions. Let's see what destiny has in store for us.
Let's see. That's all it is, bro. That's all it is. I mean, character's always there. It's just how much is the mind blocking it up with the shadow.
Yeah, man. Cool. Is there anything else that you wanted to discuss, or do you have other topics you wanted to go into?
Just leaving it up to, I'm flowing with it.
Yeah.
Doing my
There's
thing.
one question that I wanted to ask you though. So when you were getting started with Bee Bread, and you first got your initial success, did you expect it to happen? Or was it out of like you didn't know what?
Bro, I literally had I was like, fuck it, I have no option. I mean, whatever. Like that was my mindset. I was like, I literally have nothing to lose. And if it works out, I'm literally at rock bottom. Like I can't get any lower than this. I mean, I could, but it was like, for me, that felt like rock bottom. And so I just didn't care. Like if it was, I literally had nothing to lose. Right. And so I put it out, and that's when I saw the video doing its thing. I was like, wow, okay, that's God. Like I just let it happen.
It's almost when you don't care about stuff, then you're at the most relaxed possible state.
Yeah.
And that's when you're more receptive to two things: doing your best work and also to having your best ideas.
Yeah. Bro, I can't tell you how many times now, because in entrepreneurship, as you continue to go down the journey, it's like you start just facing bigger and bigger obstacles. But ironically, you've gotten so used to shit like this from the journey that they're not even obstacles anymore. Like they'll piss you off for a second, but it's like today, my entire TikTok shop seller account was deactivated, and they said permanently deactivated. And so I was sitting, bro, in the past, I would have been like, what the hell? And this one I was just cracking up. I was like, of course.
Did you resolve it, or?
Yeah, I mean, I got it. A bunch of sellers, I guess, they had some update and they permanently shut down a shit ton of stores, and I was one of them. I was like, okay, this is just a joke, bro. but it's like it's really just like whatever. I mean, I've had products taken down for weeks and weeks and weeks at a time, and I was trying so hard to fix it. Like I was trying to give them documents and this and that and all types of stuff. And I finally was just like, okay, whatever, I give up. Like, I guess it's never gonna get on. And I get this email, they're like, oh yeah, so we got rid of your restrictions because this product actually doesn't apply to what was restricted. I was like, what, bro? What?
So I I'll tell you this, I maybe you don't know this or not. Shopify actually integrates with YouTube.
Yeah. Wait, what?
And you can have, yeah. So you don't know this.
That's scary.
Okay, hold up. I need to show you this.
Oh,
So
I guess we should start talking about bee bread a little bit.
Oh yeah, for sure. Wait. So I need to open an incognito tab because I have ad block. So give me a sec. Let me share my screen. Where's that? Man, I'm not good with technology. All right, here we go. Share screen.
It's a funny thing, bro. Got to be good at talking on it.
All right. So you can see my YouTube, right?
Yes.
So let me just look myself up.
Yeah. How many subs you at now? I haven't checked in a while. Hell yeah, you're almost at 30. Let's go.
Oh, we're gonna go so far.
Yeah, that's not, bro. That's a fire. I love that thumbnail. How the world really works.
Top one, yeah.
That's good.
Esoteric food pyramid. So anyway, let me go into any random video. So look at this.
So before you show me though, real quick, what has become like the main point of your page? Like, what's the main message?
Okay, good question. But that requires a bit of expansion. So I will expand on that after I show you this.
Okay.
So my products are digital, but you can sell digital products on Shopify. So I have my Shopify store, which looks like this.
Mm-hmm.
So these are digital products, but they are selling on Shopify as though they're physical products. So same exact process. You obviously know we are on Shopify,
right?
So you can integrate those into YouTube, and you can see at the bottom you have the products. So you can just click on that, and you go directly. So that's even if I don't mention my products, the images draw someone attention and get free impressions, basically. And I don't think anybody has been doing digital products in this way, but it is a possibility. So when and if I have physical products, they'll be on here, and that'll be an easy way for me to sell. So yeah, I don't know that you didn't know that, man.
No, how do you connect them? Like, how did you get on the video?
Let me share my screen again. I deactivated that way too soon.
Yeah, because I would put that on all my videos.
Yeah, exactly. It's free. You already have a Shopify, so yeah. Let me go to my. Oh wait, yeah, I'm not signed in onto this one. I'm gonna have to pull this one out of open my actual signed in one. Then yeah, my YouTube recommendations, well, because I do research for other stuff. Studio. Right, so go to Earn on YouTube Studio, go to Shopping, and in here, obviously I've already connected mine, so it shows all my products, but there's an option here to connect, and it's just too easy. It's effortless. There's even guides on YouTube which tell you how, and if you can't figure it out, just hit me up and I'll show you.
Wow. And you're making a lot of sales with your course?
Well, I only started marketing the courses and everything again in December. I think I made 2 or 3 sales per week. So each course is 250. So
yeah, that's fire, bro.
It's just a replacement of my regular engineering income, basically.
Yeah.
The goal for year 1 was, can I replace my job's income previously? And I've been able to do that comfortably. So now the question is how do I expand? How do I actually get there?
Yeah. Wow. Maybe by not trying to get there at all.
Yeah, true. Maybe by just going on YouTube, going live, giving the best possible lectures about given topic every
Yeah.
single day, improving every single day, and just doing the best for my audience. And then if I have a product, like, the audience have trust in me and they know I deliver a good product. Could be anything. Could be freaking fruit.
Yeah.
It'll be okay.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, but like your site, obviously, like there's more that can be done, like on conversion and stuff. But that dude, that's a disgusting funnel, the info product route.
So my plan for like monetization routes is okay. You asked me a question, right? You asked me what's the channel about.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't usually talk about this because at the surface level, channels about health, right?
Mm-hmm.
The easy answer to your question is health.
Mm-hmm.
Avoiding the modern toxins, increasing some of the more ancient techniques that we always had. That's not the truth of it. The truth of it is based on all the history and economics knowledge that I have, I know a few things which are non-negotiable. One is all governments tend to tyranny with time. Non-negotiable, always happens, zero exceptions. That's one. That's one axiom number one. Axiom number two is we have technology that was not even imaginable in previous times, and it's only getting better. All right, that's axiom number two. Technology is always getting better. So, in times of like Stalin and Hitler, of course, these guys wanted to have complete total control over their citizens.
Right.
They wanted to know what people ate, did, thought, everything, so long as it matches the party line, right? In the next 10 to 20 years, so the thing is, Stalin and Hitler, even though they wanted to know every single detail of your life and they wanted to police everything, they couldn't do it. The technology wasn't there.
Right.
They had the secret police, they had the Gestapo and all these things, but couldn't do it. Because if you're living in, nowhere in Russia, like Stalin's not going to be able to enforce his will on you. He's just outside his domain. But you know what's happening in China with the social security system?
Yeah.
Social
credit system.
Yeah. The same guy who set those systems up for them has been hired by the Irish government. So I'm sure you're aware of the Conor McGregor protests. So a bunch of migrants, they committed a crime and there's a lot of protests. So what should the government do? Probably fix the problem for their own citizens. What does the government do? Enforces more crackdowns on freedom of speech, right?
Right.
Classic. So, but the thing is, what Stalin and Hitler could never do, even if they wanted to, is going to become possible in the very near future. So where do we fit into that? You may know of the concept of a parallel society. The idea that there's society, there's an undercurrent, which kind of does its own thing. They educate their children differently. They do different practices for health. They aren't actively rebelling against the norm. They just do their own thing. It's like, hey, just leave us alone. And they exist. And they're this bulk population that with time supplants the norm. So the question is, there's two pieces of it, the health and the education side, right? So grand scheme, my grand scheme is to get people as healthy and educated as possible, and indeed create this kind of parallel society of kind of elite individuals, kind of know what's going on. They know how to exist in this clown world. Like everybody's always fight the matrix. Fine. But by doing that, how? And that's where my channel comes in. So I'm here to provide that education. History, economics, biology, health. I'm not going to be the expert in everything, but I can at least point people in the right direction for everything.
So you're creating the true alternative reality. There you go. Fuck VR. We got Kaal wrong.
That's right. That's the grand scheme.
I love it though. Like we are so aligned on this shit, bro, because like it really is, there's so many facets of it. You got the nutrition, you've got the health, like all that leads to the spiritual expansion and the awareness that allows us to make the right financial decisions. So I saw on your cover of how the world really works, you got the Bitcoin thing on there. I mean, that's really like where it is going. It's like having this parallel societies with different financials. When I was in Costa Rica, there is so much. I'm getting a spot there. There is so much traffic going there of people who are just they're like, fuck this. I'm leaving the system. I'm doing my own thing. We're gonna have private communities that live aligned with nature. And I was like, this resonates so much. And I have a connect who um, they're working on a decentralized payment gateway that we could potentially use in multiple decentralized compounds to connect them, to create own trade routes, to get off of the system and have its own thing, to have regenerative farming on all of this land. And that's really like what I'm using my brand to streamline, but it also comes down to things like understanding our own sovereign nature. So,
Yes.
like in late March, I'm actually going over to the Highlands of the UK. So random, but I met this guy he's what I consider like a master of being a man, like being sovereign, knowing that we embody the God consciousness and really understanding how like karmic laws and everything works, and not even like from the mind but from the heart and the soul. And so I'm going over to do this workshop on the art of relating, right? And so we hear relating and it's like this just term, but it's the deepest term that we can understand because relating is all life is, right? And so it's like, as I said, as we're viewing from this lens of separation, the only thing we can do is relate. Me relating with this is me relating with the microphone. Me and you, we're relating right now. The way I touch my computer is an art of relation because it's something connecting to something. But in the end of the day, when we embody that I am nature of ourselves, we're just relating to ourselves, right? And so it's like when we learn the art of relating, we learn ourselves, right? And so that's what I'm going to do because like the way you can, I mean, it goes from like taxes to say like government agency comes to take your kids. Like this guy's kids were like being taken away and he got them out of it. And like it's gotten out of millions of dollars of debt because they use debt to create money and all types of stuff. But it's like when you understand the art of relating, you can understand your sovereign nature and the way God intended. And you can walk around as I can be Mason Core a man versus Mason Core an entity. And when you understand law versus legal, because legal's its own thing,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the same reason we go into court and have a freaking, a lawyer act on our behalf because we're playing the straw man that's
Mm-hmm.
dead, right? And so it's like we go in there and we listen to a judge who then has the right to judge us instead of talking to a magistrate who has to authoritate our court, the law and court of Mason, the law of my land, rather than the law of the United States Corporation. When you like understand these fundamental things, it changes how you relate with everything. And it's like you can just say no to something if it does not align with the truth inside of you and if it creates karmic bondage.
Do you remember? Do you have read this book, The Sovereign Individual?
I have not.
So I'm sure you're going to like it a lot because it takes everything you said, but puts it into hardcore history and economics terms. Strongly recommend you read it. The first chapter is bad though. I'll give you the disclaimer. The first chapter, it's a predictive book. Oh, actually, instead, just watch the video which I made, How the World Works. I kind of break down what's in that book. Why I bring that up is The Sovereign Individual was a book suggested to me by Robert Oliver, who you introduced me to him and him to me.
Yeah.
And that's also a bizarre story because I didn't know you, nor did I know that you knew Robert Oliver.
Yeah.
So I was like, if you want to get good on YouTube, like there's this finance guy called Robert Oliver.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're like, I still remember how you said it. Oh yeah, Rob? Yeah, I know him.
That works, bro. It's a small world, but like that's the thing. It's like we're all aligned on the same frequency, so it's inevitable. It's always inevitable.
And you connected with me and Rob actually invited me to visit him in Texas.
Yeah.
So that was a meeting which I knew of Rob, and I actually wanted to talk to him because like he was killing it on Amazon, and I knew I wanted to create an Amazon brand down the line. But I knew that I was going to meet him or talk to him eventually. But the way it happened was I couldn't have, yeah, exactly, completely random, right? The fact that I could be thinking of this guy who I wanted to communicate with, and I was having lunch with him in Texas 2 weeks from then is bizarre.
Yeah. It's, but that's the thing though, like the mind can't comprehend it. You know the funny thing though about the book though, the title, The Sovereign Individual?
Mm-hmm.
Here's the irony in it. That title alone is not sovereign.
When
Because a sovereign and individual is a title that we give ourselves. As soon as we're an individual, we're in this legal system. I'm a man, I'm not an individual.
what's the difference between those two terms?
An individual is what is identified in the legal system, and they can be taxed and they can be controlled. And that's why you say you're a dependent, you are an individual. All these words, they're just titles, right? So you lower yourself from a sovereign spiritual man to an entity, right? Just like our ID card. When a police officer, a man acting as a police officer, that's the thing to realize. When we peel back the layers and we hand the ID to the officer and he says, "Is this you?" And you say yes, we're so unconscious that we don't realize we just lowered our status from a man that's sovereign into an entity in an ID. We've just identified as an ID and we've said that we are an entity, right? And so it's like, no, that's a picture of me, a man. I do not identify as that, but it does identify in a way. It's not me.
Interesting. What you're saying is essentially you are first and foremost flesh and blood and bone and a mind. And on top of those primal things, you put on, you are a US citizen, you have a US passport, you have a driver's license, you have this, this, and this. And you are an individual essentially of, okay. What you're saying is an individual only exists insofar as it is contrasted from a group.
We're not an individual though.
We're
not an individual, because an individual is just like, it's like me saying, "Hey, I'm a puppet." I'm a man, I'm not a puppet, but I could be a puppet if I pretend to be. I can be an individual if I pretend to be, and I take that on as my role and my identity.
I will have to think about this more. I don't think I understand it well enough.
Yeah. So it's like, you say you're Kaal Ram. No, you're a man also known sometimes as Kaal Ram.
Okay.
So it's like you're what's behind that, right? And so it's like, unless it has a direct spiritual connection with the creator, it is all made up. It's all creation. And so it's like you lower your status when an officer says you are under arrest, when you, a man, have done nothing. Like, for example, if they say get out of your vehicle, which is not your vehicle, it's your property if you own it, right? So like, it's understanding the language. If he goes to your property and he says, we're going to have to search this, right? You can be like, okay, that's fine. Like, you don't have to argue it. You can be like, okay, that's fine, but I want to let you know I charge you $1,000 plus $10 per second that you're using my property as it is renting it, right? So it's like they're renting your property. You can charge them. You can send them a bill to rent your property.
Yeah, but they're not going to pay that.
Yet they are, because you can take them to a court of law. And if they refuse to, then you can call it a trespass.
Is that true?
Yes, it is true.
Huh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look that up. I don't understand it well enough. It's at the frontier of my understanding, right?
Yeah. But because it's no different than, say, someone broke into your house. It's a trespass. It's your property. If they just chose to walk into it.
There's a flaw deep inside what you're saying, which is at the end of the day, like hardcore at the end of the day, all authority derives one way or other from violence. If you lived in freaking Somalia, a bunch of pirates break into your boat, and you're being sat there saying, "Hey, this is my boat. I'm going to charge you $1,000 for every minute you're in here." They're going to shoot you and move on.
Yeah, they could. But that's their karma to deal with. And so we live in a world where we have a court of law still at our disposal.
Supposedly.
We are one nation under God,
Supposedly.
right? Supposedly, but you can go into a court and you can have the magistrate say, okay, well, they did not pay my bill and I sent them a notice that this is how much they owed me. So I'm requiring it paid in full by this amount, this much by this time. Otherwise, you can have the magistrate go after him because the magistrate is your agent. Like the judge, we look at a court and it's so fucked up, bro. We look at a judge as like someone who's there to judge us, but the magistrate is there as an agent for us. They have to represent our court, right? So it's like if the policeman, the man acting as a cop, goes into your property and starts taking stuff, that's trespass by way of robbery if you said it was right before. You can say, okay, yes, you can go in, you can take that, but I'm going to charge you $10,000 if you take that. I'm going to charge you $100 every single minute that you have it in your hands because I consider that rent. And if not, it is trespass by way of robbery because you've taken my property. And
But
if
who
they
enforces it, right? At the end of
the
the day,
magistrate,
what legal power does a magistrate have? And okay, where's the money coming from?
they don't have legal power. They have lawful power. So legal and law are two different things.
Sure, where's the money coming from?
What do you mean?
So you say, you're owed $10,000 for the renting the property, which is the car.
Yes.
Fine, that's fine. But so you demand the money, and let's say you get it. Who is the money coming from?
The public servant, the magistrate, will sick his dogs on him because
Okay.
you've created
Okay.
your court of law.
Okay. So again, where's the money coming from?
It's paid by the man that you've charged the bill to,
The actual individual police officer?
not the individual, the man
Okay.
acting as an individual.
The police officer is going to pay you $1,000?
Yes, unless the owner of the police station would like to pay instead. You can accept that. You set the law, bro. That's the thing. It's like you've come into my property. That's fine. I'm going to charge you this much to do so. It's like if an officer says, "Hey, you better wear a mask." That's an order. It's like, "Okay, sir, I will gladly take your order, but this is how much it costs."
Yeah, but there's something wrong with all this because, at the end of the day, imagine you live in a corrupt state. You can say all these, you didn't say it was law. You said it wasn't legal. You said it was law. Yeah.
It's law. It's common law.
Just make sure I want to use the correct term, right?
Yeah.
You can use that law. Like imagine you live in a corrupt state, which some say that we are, but regardless, doesn't apply, does it? Like you're being sat there in Saudi Arabia and you're like, I want to vote. Like good luck with that,
Right.
Or if you're in freaking China and you're like, I want to use WhatsApp. It's not going to happen. Like you might say, I am the man who wants to use this service freely given to me by the creators of WhatsApp in a free accord outside the legal system by universal law. It's fine. It's not going to happen because, like, they're going to put you in prison.
Right. I mean, the thing is, in those nations, they don't understand these things. They don't know their true nature. And so it's like in WhatsApp, if they knew that they were a man and all that stuff, yeah, I mean, sure, like the country will go in and try and do that. But it's like you still have the sovereign right to stand there with a gun and kill them.
Yeah, exactly.
So
there we go.
That's but you see how like the whole point of it is it's getting rid of karmic ties. Like it's always like you call it an eye for eye. Like in the United States, yeah, we say it's like, oh, it can sound bad, but it's actually the most peaceful thing because you're getting rid of the controversy and you're creating honor. You're getting rid of dishonor to correct the karmic imbalance in the system. And so it's like, okay, you can give me an order to wear my mask, but I'm going to charge you this much to do so.
There we go. Now we're on the same page. Now we see eye to eye.
Right.
Now we're talking the same language. My framework for all this is, at the end of the day, authority derives from violence.
Right.
That's the end of it. Whether it's legal or it's law, at the end of the day, everything comes down to Second Amendment.
Yeah. And it also comes down how much we accept
Yes.
Authority comes down. So it's like a cop, like again, the cop interaction. If you accept that they have authority over you, it's like BDSM. Like now they can smack your ass. Like you just become a citizen that they can spank and do whatever. They could hit you with whips and shit, and it's okay. They give you your Miranda rights, whatever that means. My name is Mason Kuhr, a man. I don't know who the fuck Miranda is. So I have Mason Kuhr's law. I don't know whose Miranda's rights are, but she can do her own thing.
Yes, and the only person who protects Mason's Kuhr's law is Mason's Kuhr's strength at arms.
Right.
You know?
And so if
what can Mason Kuhr do?
Yeah. And so if they trespass on that, then I will take them to a court of law, the court of Mason, and they will be subject. And that's the thing too. Then they say you're subject to laws. They're using language of kings and queens. You become a subject to them. It's like, oh, you were going to be subject to this if you agree to this. And if you're like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to read anything, I'm going to sign it away. Oh shit, you're a subject to
the law. At the end of the day, it's what can you and the guys around you who you trust, what can you do? Like what kind of control or domain can you have? Right. That's the only domain that you have in life. That's it. Yeah. It's like, you know, the range of an M4 is how much domain you have.
Right. And it's like, dude, it's really dangerous too. Like I've been really close to sending, because the way it goes is what I'm learning and when I'm going to this workshop of relating even more to do is when people really trespass, you can send a correspondence, right? So it's like you may see on apartments where it's like notices and they kick you out and shit. You can send correspondences which are like, hey, you know, this is the issue. Is your intent to cause harm? If it's not, then please correct it. By doing this, I'll accept this. If it is, then I'm going to consider it trespass by way of whatever. And I need to know, is it your intent? Right. And so if they continue to ignore it, you can do another correspondence. If not, you send them a notice that they need to come to your court of law and it will be handled because they've trespassed on your law karmically. And so no matter what they do, it's like a shadow, right? So it's like, we don't need to be scared of like all these monsters in the closet because it's just a shadow. The shadow does not exist without the light, right? So it's like we have to realize we're innately light and we can just get rid of the shadow. Think, you're not powerful. You can't get me. Like you are me. Like what do you got to do, me? Come after my ass. You are me, bro. But there's so much humor in it. Like that's like the thing with like the TikTok shop thing. I was really considering. I was like, bro, am I gonna have to send a notice to the owner of TikTok? And like, because I would happily do it. And I think it's fair. It's like I'm gonna welcome you to my court if you feel that you have the right, because they were keeping my funds locked up, right, when they banned the account. So it's like that's you just robbed me. Yeah. Right. So I consider that a trespass by way of robbery. Right. So it's like, if you do that, listen, I invite you to my court and we can figure this one out. But you've just trespassed on my law and you've created harm to me, to my property, and to all the people who interact with my property, which is mass karmic debt to you. And you don't want that. So it's like you want to be good with it and you want to just get back into honor, get out of dishonor and controversy into honor. But yeah, it's like that shit's really a weapon, bro. And like I don't want to act like a pro at it because I haven't had to use it yet. But I'm like getting more, understanding of it at a deeper level. So it's like the universe is always going to just give you tests for yourself to clear out that karmic load and the stored emotions, all these things that are inside of us, to realize like we're sovereign and we are free. And we don't need a title to say that. We don't need to be a sovereign individual. I'm just a man.
I just realized how dense our conversation has been so far. Like a person who doesn't know any of these topics coming in, they're going to be seeing new viewpoints every 30 seconds in.
Yeah, bro. We just did a whole novel.
Yeah. There's like multiple books which can be written about the topic that we discussed.
Yeah, dude. So, by the way, I wanted to bring up before we hop off. I don't know if I told you about it, but I have I'm doing my first retreat. It's an expedition.
Yeah, you told me.
Yeah.
What was it the one which I said I was doing army drill
Oh
again?
yeah, you're gonna be in the military stuff.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I signed a contract.
Yeah, yeah, you did.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
it is what it
Fuck.
is. Not much I can do about that.
Yeah, yeah, that sucks.
I mean, it is what it is. I don't hate it.
You don't have to though. The thing is like if you
Right.
know your law as a man, you can be like, okay, well, here's the thing. Like, if you saw, if you did it, like, and you were unaware of who you are, then it's like, sure, you accept it at the time, but as soon as you become aware of it, you can be like, okay, well, I choose to leave this agreement
Mm-hmm.
because I, a man, no longer choose to be what you call a soldier, and I am me. But it's like if you want to do it,
Right. No, I understand. Like
obviously.
if the US goes into a unethical and illegal and immoral war, I'd have to, I'd have to,
Yeah. Yeah.
one
If
way
it
or
was a
other.
legal one, you don't have to go into an unlawful one.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
hope that never happens.
Yeah.
But the leadership we're getting,
Yeah.
who knows? So,
Yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if that happens too, like, just, bro, I mean, yeah, I don't know. There's not
yeah,
much to say on that. Like, if that happened, then the world would be just in shit.
exactly. So that's we shall wait and see what happens there.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's like the whole point of what I was really saying is just like know who you are. Yeah.
Appreciate it, man. Always good
Absolutely.
talking to you. Always, I learned something new, but also I have a different frame on what I already know.
Yeah. 100%. We got to get that sovereign stuff out. Like you can identify to sovereign obviously, but it's like whatever with this knowledge, we got to get this stuff out because this is like really the fundamental of everything.
Hmm.
It's like nothing really matters unless you know who you are. Because it's like, why are you even doing it?
Like I said, I don't fully understand the frontiers of the concept that you've given me,
Yeah.
but for sure I have something to think about. And anybody who's watching there, they might take the sovereign pill. They might look into it and then come into your point of view.
Yeah. Could I if you post that, could I give you like my affiliate link for it? Because
Yeah,
there's like
for sure.
there's a webinar attached that people can watch and it like helps them understand it more. And if they like it, they just
Oh,
you may want to take the course too.
got you. Yeah, I'll put that in, and also
Yeah.
I'll put your link in for B bread.
Yeah. Okay, fire. Yeah, I'll get
All right,
that
man.
bro. I recommend you take the course though, like just for yourself. It's you're like, what have I been missing out on my entire life?
I want to see it in action. I want
Yeah.
to see it like an actual case study. That's what will convince me.
Yeah. It's on there. So
All right.
you should watch the webinar at least. It's free.
Mm-hmm.
So
All right, Ben, man.
yeah. This is awesome, bro.
I'll see you next time, man.
Yes, sir. And let's catch up soon. Let me know when you're around Tampa or in the US or
For
flying
sure.
to the US.
Are you back in Tampa now then?
I'm Tampa until January 27th.
And then where are you going now?
Kilimanjaro till like mid February.
Oh yeah, I'm in Hawaii right now. It's gorgeous, but
Yeah, I can't imagine, bro. That's gonna be awesome.
I also, I mean, this is a side, but potentially looking at moving to either Tampa or Austin. So I'll be
Mm,
in the actual mainland pretty soon.
both are great spots. Yeah, if you come to Tampa, it's definitely get more like the tropical feel. It's nice.
Yeah, for sure, man.
So,
All right, bro. Appreciate it. Keep
all right,
killing it.
brother. Yes, sir. Likewise.
All right.
All right, catch you, bro.